you guys. How have you seen the growth and the development from practice 1 to practice 13?
Well, I think we're understanding what it takes, and we're still making corrections today, so that's just part of it. But, I think as a group, just from the tempo and how we get practiced and aligned and all those things that you're looking for, I was pretty pleased, especially when you're at number 13. It's been a pretty long spring for them.
But it's a whole new roster. How steep is the curve in terms of chemistry, particularly when you're talking quarterbacks and receivers?
I think there is a curve. I mean, because you can't really see that till we get out here with them. Even when they work on their own, it's just not the same. So I think we've seen a big change even in the last week with those guys. There'll be more work to do as we get into the summer and get ready for August. The thing for me really is physicality. This is a chance for us where there's no real game to really be physical. I've seen that. I think we've really gotten that on both sides of the ball, gotten better. And then before the game, it's really tightening it up and honing it together without being quite as physical.
What are you looking to see on Saturday? Anything specifically you're looking for?
I think it's a team game, but we'll be looking for individual matchups, and just really who comes out there on game day and produces. I mean, we can do all this practicing, but when you kind of cut the lights on, that's when you see who shines. And there'll be some guys, you might be a 3 that's going against a 1, and that's when you find some guys who perform. And so it'd just be fun to get out there in front of the fans and those guys show what they can do.
I know you said after the last scrimmage, you said maybe a little bit of an edge to the defense. Is the offense maybe a little hungrier for Saturday?
Well, I would say they came out Tuesday and got after it, and that's what you expect, and that's what we told our players. I mean, it's just all about what you do the next day. So that one's gone. How do we move forward? I think the offense really had something to prove on Tuesday. We'll see. It'll be interesting when we come on Saturday.
Coach, how important is it a spring game in this final week of practice for a team that hasn't seen actual game action in a couple of years?
Yeah, I think it's a good question. I think what we want to do, we want to make it as game-like as we can. Our warm-up will look like it's going to look in September 2nd, and that way if we need to correct things. But we want to start now. We want to start getting our minds right. Tomorrow morning's breakfast will be very important. We'll play on that meal and so on. So the curfews, all those things start for us. Obviously, the night before normally we'd be at a hotel, but we want to make it from the pregame meal that morning to everything we do on the sideline game-like. So it's important.
How the team split up, and what are you doing with that?
So, we didn't, if you'll look at what we did in the falls, it was literally 1s against 2s, and we've kind of done a little something different here. It might be some 1s and 2s together and some 3s and 4s on the other side. And, if we, that's kind of how we finished up today. And, you see a guy, and we call him a 2.5 sometimes. It's a guy he might even roll with a 1, but you got to make a decision. So, based on what we've seen, it's going to be where we can really put that 1 and 2 D line together where we can roll them, and then we're looking at some of those 3s and saying, all right, how do they match up against the 1? So that's kind of the breakup of this scrimmage.
What does it mean for this program to have this on ESPN3?
I think it's huge. I think anything that puts this program out there that gives us national exposure is good. It's great for our players. Boy, they're very excited about it. And I'll tell you the other thing, our team really has come from around the country. So, this is a chance for folks that may not have seen them, their home folks, to get to see them. And, I think it's just another step in the right direction.
In the recruiting world, you're talking about wanting to be a national team, recruiting right. too. How much does that help in that aspect of it?
I think it's huge. I think anytime you get your brand out there and people see it, I think it's a great thing. One of the things we found out pretty quickly, and we've talked about it, is when we went out recruiting, they knew who we were, they knew the story. We've got a nationally recognized academic institution. We talk about Birmingham and football, how important that is. And so I think with these new facilities and anything that's being talked about that promoted, it's going to be good for us.
Thanks, Coach.
All right. Thanks for coming, guys.